Okay, it is 6:30. Let's get started. Welcome everybody to the Street Life Committee meeting of Community Board 8. Today's Tuesday, March 5th. My name is Abraham Salcido, and I co-chair this committee along with Lindsay Cormack. Uh, some rules of the road. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go down the list of agenda items. We're going to invite every applicant and or their representative to come off mute at the time instructed and tell us a little bit about their application. Um, After that, I will invite members of the public with questions on any application to provide their input. And then lastly, I will go to my fellow committee members for any questions, comments, or motions on the particular application. Just a reminder that any action taken at this committee will then go to the full board for a vote. And the full board meeting, which will take place on Wednesday, March 20th, and that's at the Chapin School, 100 East End Avenue. Couple of other reminders. Please direct all of your questions and comments to the co-chairs. Would like to avoid any crosstalk. Additionally, please remember that we are all here to for the applications and to express our opinions, and everyone is entitled to their opinion. However, please also observe the rules of decorum. Again, no crosstalk, no commentary or comments that would be deemed inappropriate. Anyone that can't follow the rules of decorum will be muted and lose their opportunity to speak. Additionally, with regards to applications, let's try to be succinct and keep comments to the subject matter of the application. So if we're talking about an SLA liquor license, let's keep our comments to the merits of the application, and similarly with respect to the Office of Cannabis Management applications. Okay, so then with that, Robert, I will kick over to you for any of the technical guidance.
Sure. Thank you, Abraham. Welcome. If this is your first time joining us virtually, you will notice that you're currently muted and that everyone will remain muted throughout the meeting, except the committee co-chairs, Lindsay and Abraham, and any presenters. Following the presentations, the co-chairs will call members of the public who wish to speak. You can participate by going to the reactions icon on your device and pressing the raise hand button, not the wave or the thumbs up, as those will disappear. Only press it once. If you press it a second time, your hand will go back down. If you are calling in from the phone, it is *9 to raise your hand and *6 to unmute. Please be on the lookout for a prompt to ask you to confirm unmuting once one of the co-chairs calls on you. The chat is available for technical support only to help with Zoom software problems, not to ask questions of the co-chairs nor the presenters. They won't see these chats. If you're using an older version of Zoom, you need to go to the participants section where you find the raise hand feature there. Please do not raise your actual hand or wave at the screen because we may not be able to see you. Chat me, I'm here for support. Abraham and Lindsay, back to you.
Thank you, Robert. So just want to make sure that I have a correct list of participants of committee members. I have Addison, Bill, Brian, Cos, John Phillips, Lindsay, Marco, Robin, and then I think I also saw Russell. Yes,
Yep, I saw Russell here as well, and I have a total of 10.
Great. That is also what I have. Okay, so with that in mind, let's get started with the first item of the agenda. Do we have the applicant or the representative for item 1A? That's the Mikado 800 Inc.
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, come off mute and tell us a little bit about your application.
Yes, yeah, that one will be the sushi place. So yeah, for this location is is sushi place more than 20 years. So my client just signed a new lease, and the hour will be weekday will be 11 to 10 p.m. and the weekend will 11 to 11 p.m. And okay. So it's background music only. So we are here. So glad to answer any question if you have. And also, of course, they comply with the ADA law. Yeah.
Great, thank you. Is there any outdoor space or will there be any outdoor space used?
No, I've been there. The front is a little narrow. I don't think so. They put any chair or something like this. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Do I have any members of the public for this application? This is 1A Mikado 800 Inc. Any members of the public? Okay, seeing none. In that case, I will go to my fellow committee members. And first I see Marco.
Thank you. I would like to put a motion to approve as presented. Thank you. Is anybody can second right away?
Thank you.
Yes, you have several seconds. Okay, great. Brian, I will go to you if you'd like to call a question.
Sure, I'll call a question.
Wonderful, thank you. Okay, does anyone oppose calling the question? Okay, seeing none, this is a motion to approve as presented. I'm going to do the roll. If anyone's voting no, not voting for cause or abstaining, please give me an indicator. No, not voting for cause or abstaining. Okay, well then that will go as an approval. Thank you very much and good luck. So that's a 10-0. I still have the same count.
Thank you. Good night for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Good night. Great. Okay, moving swiftly along. Do I have the representative for MLE NYC, 1556 Second Avenue, application for liquor, wine, beer, and cider? Yes, I see Larry Haas has his hand up.
Larry, you should be able to unmute.
I've got it. Thank you.
Hi.
Yes. Hello.
Great. Go ahead. Tell us a little bit about your application.
Okay. Our application is for a restaurant on 2nd Avenue between 80th and 81st Street. It's going to be an Italian restaurant. Hold on a second. We have it's going to be an Italian restaurant with a little more of a Mediterranean flair to it. We're taking over a space that had been a restaurant for a couple of years, not related to us in any way. We just took over the space on March 1st, and we're really looking forward to it. This is the second restaurant for this partnership. We currently have an Italian restaurant on Lexington between 82nd and 83rd called L'Osteria, which is doing nicely. And we're looking forward to this is a larger space for us. And we're looking forward to being able to start business here in late June or early July.
Great. Thank you very much. Just to make sure I have the right, is this the old Gray Hawk Grill space?
That's correct.
Okay, great. And then just one last question for me before I go to the public. Are you planning on using any outdoor space for the now or in the future?
Yeah, I think in the future, there's room for outdoor space. The old Gray Hawk Grill had an enclosed area. We're not going to use that enclosure. We're taking it down. We'll probably do something with planters and a few tables, but there's not a lot of space there.
Good. I know that will make many of us happy to hear. Well, one, because the enclosure is no longer going to be allowed, so that's great. Okay, so before I keep going, I'm going to invite any members of the public with questions or comments on this application. Any members of the public?
And Abraham, I just want to flag that we're joined by Judy.
Yep, I saw Judy as well. Thank you very much. So we're at 11. Okay, seeing no members of the public, I saw Cause's hand first, so I will go to Cause.
Yeah, have you or will you be applying to DOT for sidewalk or roadway?
I think we'll be applying for sidewalk licensing. But I think that that'll probably happen as we get closer to opening.
Okay, but you know there's about 4 or 5 months wait and the opening has opened, I think, as of today or something.
Yeah, right. I think that's the case. That's right. So we're focused now on getting the interior up and running, and we'll focus on the outdoor space, which is not an integral part of the restaurant.
Okay, but you will be taking the illegal outdoor structure down right away.
Yes, we will, as soon as we can.
Thank you. Thanks, Abraham.
Thanks, Cause. Okay, let's go to Bill, since we haven't heard from you yet.
Hi, thank you. Is it ADA compliant?
Yes, it is, as far as we know. It's ADA compliant.
And what will be the hours?
The hours during the week will be 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. in terms of open. We plan to also have brunch on Saturdays and Sundays.
And what would be the food to alcohol percentage?
Yeah, the food and alcohol percentage, our current thinking is that the food will be 80 to 85%, and the alcohol will be 15 to 20. We don't, it's really a restaurant. We're not relying heavily on the bar, except as people would like something to have to drink along with their eating.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Next, I'll go to Marco.
Yeah, I would like to put the motion to approve and then to speak. Is anybody can second?
You have seconds.
Okay, so I have a question. I know this is a beautiful restaurant, definitely. This is what I support that. But are you going to plan to do any deliveries?
No, we'll allow people to come and pick up, but we're not planning to do deliveries.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, great. Addison?
I'd like to call a question.
Great. And you have several thumbs up for that. So if anyone opposes calling a question, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to the roll. This is a move to approve as presented. If anyone is voting no, not voting for cause or abstaining, please give me an indicator. No, not voting for cause or abstaining. Okay, seeing none, this will go as an 11-0 approval. So thank you very much. We wish you very good luck and welcome to the neighborhood, and we look forward to your grand opening.
I'd like to thank the committee. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Okay, moving on to the next item, which is 1C. This is 145 East 61st Street. Do I have the representative or applicant for this application, which is also a liquor, wine, beer, and cider?
Yep, I'm here.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good, good. Tell us a little bit about your application and the new establishment.
Absolutely. My name is Tom Martinetti. I have a couple of licenses right now in the neighborhood. And this license is very similar to one I had for a number of years, about half a block away. But the block got torn down a number of years ago, including my business with it. I wanted a small pub, upscale pub. We'll do no delivery, and we don't plan on using any sidewalk space or roadway space at all for sidewalk or road for customers.
Okay, great. Just out of curiosity, what was your prior establishment?
It was Brigley Station between 3rd and Lex. It was sort of mid-block facing Bloomingdale's.
Oh, great.
But that is actually still an empty, completely empty. They tore down all the buildings, and there's still nothing there yet. So that's a shame because I could have been operating there to this day. But you know,
That is a shame. Well, hopefully,
it is what it is. But
okay, great. Well, thank you very much. First, go to members of the public. If there's any questions or comments on this application, members of the public. Seeing none, then I will go to our esteemed Judy Schneider.
Good evening. Can you tell me what was there before?
yes, it was a small Mexican restaurant called Gina Mexicana.
Right. What are your hours?
4 p.m. to 2 a.m. Almost every night.
That includes weekends?
Yes. In the weekends, I'll be open up at noon.
Uh-huh. And what about outdoor use, either in back or out in front, a cafe?
Nothing in front. Would like to use the back garden, but nothing in front.
Oh, there's a back garden.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have to, you're going to apply separately for that?
I'm applying with. I don't believe, as far as I know, this is the applying. I mean, I'd be applying to SLA for seating in the back garden as well.
So, Judy, on the rear, if there is on that rear garden, one which I assume maybe Marco will speak to, it has to be part of the certificate of occupancy, which would allow use. So assuming that they have a valid C of O, which allows utilization of that rear yard, then they would be able to. But thank you for bringing up that point, because the with regards to the rear yards, we don't normally allow the same kind of operating hours. We usually have applicants close any rear yards by 10 p.m. because it is an interior and usually creates an echo chamber with regards to any buildings adjacent. So wanted to flag that to you, Tom, if that is a stipulation that you would be agreeable to.
I was going to actually myself. I was going to say before you said this, I was going to opt and say 11 p.m. But if you like 10, that's fine too.
That's what I think that's what I would propose. Unless anyone has any different, but I think that would get everyone comfortable. Okay, great. Then I will go. Judy, do you have anything?
I have two more questions.
Great.
What does pub food consist of?
Pub food consists of burger, fish and chips.
Okay, got it. And can't remember what my last question was, so we'll let it go.
Well, if it comes back to you, we will give you the floor again, Judy. Okay. Next, I'll go to Marco, then to Bill.
Thank you. I just want to know if actually in the CO that you have, it said you are permitted to use the open space, or that means the rear yard. Is that correct or not?
That it's been approved by the DOB, yes.
No, no. The question is, do you have a CO? I didn't say if you approve or you file, because that's different. One thing is to file, another thing is to approve. There are two different things.
Yes.
But you file.
The last tenant, Gina Mexicana, filed for the back garden and was approved by the DOB.
But you didn't obtain the final CO or the temporary CO.
No, it'll go under letter no objection because inside is small enough.
Oh, so that means you're talking about now a letter of no objection. You're not talking about the CO. Is that correct?
Correct. We're going to go for letter no objection is being filed as we speak.
Okay. So, well, honestly, I don't think it will be approved, but you said that you filed. I don't think so, because DOB, they know very well the rules that most of the time DOB in eating and drinking establishment, that's your case, usually they approve the interior and they, with letter of no objection, but not with the CO. But in the case of the use of the rear yard, that is required to have a CO. Otherwise, you're not gonna obtain that. You can file the letter of no objection, but I guarantee you they're not going to be approved.
I've actually done something very similar once with letter of no objection downtown, but ultimately I'll only do it if the DOB approves it. I mean, it's everything will be.
So the best way it should be, my recommendation is, look, we are always open to the business. We are always like to support the business, and you file for the interior, and then when you have the letter of no objection, you come back at any time, and we will approve. Because personal myself, I would like to see a legal document that you should that you have the legal use of that part, because we cannot approve
Actually,
something that's illegal.
The floor plans I actually on my application are stamped by the DOB with sheet in the back.
Well, the issue is one thing you put it, and another thing is they're gonna approve or not. But the bottom line is you said you have a letter of no objection. Letter of no objection is just a very simple document.
I said I'm going to apply for letter of no objection. I'm applying for it
That's
right
fine.
now. The floor plans that you have in my packet are stamped by the DOB. They've already been approved.
The letter of no objection?
No, the plans in my packet
Oh,
for
the plans
have already been stamped by the DOB, so they've already approved it.
No, you are confusing me. The issue is you file an application, the DOB approves, they approve what you presented, but in order to obtain the approval in the rear yard, you have to change the CO. There is no other way. Or you said that you're going to approve, going to file a letter of no objection. Yes,
Right
you
now,
can do that, but it will be disapproval.
Right now, the CO says store C6. So right now, the DOB approves by nature of a C6 usage of barn restaurant, which is what they've been using thus far, and has been expanded to the backyard with a DOB stamp. But whatever the case may be, we'll only operate in the extent the DOB allows us to operate.
And I think that's probably the right way, Mark. We want to go. The applicant here is saying that they will not use the rear yard unless they have been approved by a DOB, either with the letter of no objection, which you don't believe will be granted. So if they don't obtain the letter of no objection, they will not use the rear yard, or unless they're able to amend or modify the C of O, which shows the rear yard. So I think regardless, I think that we can say that a stipulation will be that the applicant will not use the rear yard unless they have the legal right to do so via a letter of no objection or the amended C of O.
Yep.
Okay. I think that's perfectly fine. The other issue is, Abraham, I would like always to hear that the person who presented the proposal, it has to disclose who is the person. We're gonna know if it's the owner, we're gonna know if the attorney, the expediter, whatever it is. It's just only to see the person who is presented the application. But in this case, apparently, it looks like it's the owner. Is that correct?
I own all my places, just me, or in some cases.
Oh, thank you so much. I will support the application. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Judy, I'm going to go back to you since you remembered your question, and then Addison, I will come to you.
Yeah, this is based on Marco's discussion and going back to attending these meetings over the years. I kind of remembered that if you're applying for a liquor license, it is to cover all the square footage, both inside and outside. Is that not correct? So
yes.
If he's applying now for a liquor license that we're going to approve, doesn't it have to include the rear yard as well? Otherwise, he has to come back and refile with us for the rear yard. Or am I not thinking correctly?
That's why we've just that's why I'm agreeing to saying right now, rather than having to do this twice, is saying I only operate the rear garden if I get approval from the DOB.
Okay, and so what you're filing both with the state and the city is going to include the square footage for the rear yard. Is that right?
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you very much, because I was confused about that. The other question that I wanted to ask you was, were you going to do any deliveries?
Absolutely. None of my places do delivery.
Okay. Thank you.
Great. Okay. Addison?
Yes, I'd like to put a motion on the floor to approve the application with whatever stipulations were discussed.
Great. You have seconds on that. Okay. Does someone want to call a question? I will take a thumbs. Yep, I see Marco agrees to the calling the question. Okay. If anyone opposes calling the question, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to go to the roll. This is a motion to approve with the stipulations of no use of the rear yard unless the applicant has obtained the legal right to do so, either via a letter of no objection or amended C of O. Additionally, 10 p.m. closing of the rear yard if and when they are lawfully able to do so, to use it. Okay, so if anyone is voting no, not voting for cause or abstaining, please give me an indicator. Otherwise, you will go down as a yes vote. Okay, no, not voting for cause or abstaining. Seeing none, this will go down as an 11-0 approval. Thank you, Tom. Appreciate it, and good
Thank you.
luck.
Have a great night. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay. Next we have category 2. This is the change applications. Do I have the applicant for 2A, Calderwood, DBA the Hunterian? This is an alteration application. Hunterian, representative or applicant?
I am looking right now, Abraham, through everything. If you just give me 1 second. Kimberly, if you are here. Kimberly, I'm not see. Actually, Abraham, give me 1 second. Now I'm seeing Kimberly. I just sent who I believe is the representative. The prompt on mute.
Okay.
Yes, I'm here.
Hi there.
Hey, how are you?
How are you? Tell us your name, your relation to the establishment, and the nature of the change, please.
My name is Michael Ferry. I am the owner of the Hunterian at 413 East 70th Street. We've been open since 2018. The alteration is happening because the SLA is no longer requiring us to have a warehouse permit for the basement. So we are required to file this so that the basement is included in our upstairs application or upstairs permit. We've always used the basement. It's just that there is not an internal staircase down to it. So that is why we're doing this filing.
Got it. But there'll be no other change whatsoever to the method of operation that you're currently using, right?
No, absolutely none.
Okay, understood. Thank you very much. Do I have any members of the public on this application? Members of the public. Okay, seeing none, I will go to Marco first and then to Cause.
I think it's very simple application. I would like to put a motion. The motion is to approve as presented.
Great. I'm happy to second that, and you have several other seconds. Cause?
Yeah, do you have any outdoor space currently?
Yeah, we currently have the roadway structure in front of the location.
Have you applied for the new outdoor dining as it was open today or something?
No, I haven't applied yet. I know it just opened today, but we are planning on.
And so you have a structure on the street. What about the sidewalk?
No, nothing on the sidewalk.
Okay, but you will be applying for the dining NYC or whatever they're calling it to DOT.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Great, thanks, Cause. Marco?
I would like to call the question.
Wonderful. Okay, you have some seconds there. Okay, if anyone opposes calling the question, let me know. I'm going to the roll. This is a motion to approve. If anyone's voting no, not voting for cause or abstaining, please let me know, or you will go down as a yes vote. My roster still consists of 11 of us. No, not voting for cause or abstaining. Okay, seeing none, this will go as an 11-0 approval. Thank you very much and continue. Good luck with the Huntarian.
Great. Thank you for your time.
Okay, next and is category 3. There's a 30-day waiver application for Columbus Citizens House Inc. 8 East 69th Street, and it's a renewal for liquor, wine, beer, and cider. Do I have the applicant for this application? Yes, I'm seeing Lisa.
Hi, thank you very much.
Hello.
I'm the Executive Director of Columbus Citizens Foundation. We're applying for our liquor license renewal. We've been at 8 East 69th Street since the late 1960s. We're two organizations that masquerade as one. We're a public charity that gives out $1.5 million in scholarships every year. And we teach Italian classes here in the building, and we run educational and cultural programs. And then we have a members organization with about 500 members with a members dining room in the basement. And I've been here 4 years. So as far as I know, it's basically run the same way for the last 50 years. And this is just our periodic renewal.
Thank you, Lisa. And was it just that you didn't get the notice on time, the reason for the waiver?
Well, it's actually worse than that. We got the renewal in, it had my wrong home address, and somehow in trying to get it changed to my correct home address, what was a filing perfectly on time with plenty of time ended up being a couple of days into the 30 days. So that's why this happened. I should have just let my old address stay. So.
Not a problem. These things happen. Well, thank you for appearing this evening. First, do I have any members of the public? Seeing none, we'll go to Marco.
Yeah, I would like to put a motion. The motion is to approve as presented. Is anybody going to second?
Yes, you have second.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we'll go to Bill.
Call the question?
Wonderful. Cause, did you have anything related?
Yeah, I did. Is there any outdoor space that you currently have either in the street or on the sidewalk?
We have nothing on the street or in the sidewalk. There's a walled garden in the back that gets used maybe 6-7 days out of the year in late afternoon, early evening. It can seat 20 people. We don't actually serve dinner out there. Just occasionally if
I'm more interested in the front. Will you be
no, we have
applying
nothing. We have nothing in the front.
And will you be applying?
I'm sorry.
Will you be applying to
Oh, no.
DOT for any?
No.
No. Okay,
No.
thank you.
Okay, so question's been called. If anyone's voting, I'm going to the roll. If anyone's voting no, not voting for cause or abstaining, please give me a sign. Otherwise, this is a yes vote. Anyone voting no, not voting for cause or abstaining? Okay, and we are still 11, so that's a approval. Thank you very much, Lisa. Appreciate you joining us this evening.
Thank you for your time.
Great. Okay, that concludes the State Liquor Authority applications. I will now pass the baton to my co-chair, Lindsay, for the OCM application on the agenda. Lindsay?
Thank you, Abraham. Okay, now we're going to go to our one application for the New York State Office of Cannabis Management for a new adult use retail dispensary license for Ganja Grove Shops Corp. Do we have a representative here?
Stephanie, are you with the applicant?
No, I'm not. I live on the block.
Okay, so let's wait to get those comments. Let's first see if we can get the applicant here.
Elvia, if you're here, please raise your hand or send me a chat so I can unmute you. Elvia, if you're here, I am not seeing you. Lindsay and Abraham, I'm not sure if you're seeing anyone waving at the screen or.
I'm not.
No, I just went through all the different pages and I don't see anyone waving. Okay. In the absence of that, it's my understanding that there's a set of people who are here to voice their concerns about this location. Abraham, I do want to defer to you on if it makes sense to continue with that or if it makes sense to stop, given that this applicant is not here.
Right. So, Robert, further to kind of the email that we sent, we exchanged earlier. On previous months, they had requested the layovers, and we sent that to OCM. So OCM had agreed not to take any action. However, for this month, they have not responded to appear, and they have not submitted any documentation. Is that correct?
Yes. They were first invited in December, and then they requested a layover in December, January, February, so forth. And then they did not respond to either telephone calls or emails today.
So my concern here would be because they have not requested a layover, and therefore we don't have anything to show to OCM to not take an action. I would be remiss not to take an action here, which would Stephanie, I think you're going to like this action. So let's give me a second. So because they have not filed any documentation, I do not want to leave this meeting and not have taken an action, and therefore and have the applicant try to proceed with OCM, and we effectively lose our opportunity to voice an opinion on this application.
And Abraham, not to interject, but just to update everyone, is we requested the 30-day extension, the one-time 30-day extension that our community board gets. And every time that we send OCM the request to lay over or withdraw, they effectively like pause or stop that clock. And so we're still within our window to comment on the application.
So we are within our window. Do you know how many days we are in that window if they did get the extension to 60?
If you give me one moment.
And for everyone's benefit, what I am rambling about here is we can either have two options. If we still have, as a community board, a window to comment on the application, then I would say that we lay over the application to try to get the applicant to come before us and speak to the application, because I think applicants should have the opportunity to speak. However, if they fail to appear again at next month, then we would have no choice but to make a motion. And that motion would be, in my humble opinion, to disapprove if they still have not submitted any documentation or appeared before us.
The extension request was sent on December 19th to OCM after they had requested the layover from the December Street Life meeting, and then they requested the layover to the January Street Life meeting, which that point then we sent the layover request from January to the February meeting to the Office of Campus Management, and then they requested the layover again, and we sent the layover request to them to put them on the agenda for this month.
So Robert, is it your understanding that this would be the last opportunity for them to come before us, or does it seem as though they another opportunity next month?
My assumption, and I don't like to assume, but my assumption would be that this would be the board's last opportunity, because we already did request a 30-day extension, and that was approved, and we have not received anything from them, from the applicant requesting a layover for their application.
Okay.
Abraham, I don't know if you know any better. Lindsay, I'm not trying to, I don't know if you know better as well. I'm not sure if this is a legal question or.
Yeah, I don't know how OCM will interpret it. Like their initial notification came on November 22nd. So I don't know how OCM is going to count the 60 days. We're well past that. And I think maybe the only reason they've taken no action is because the applicant has requested to lay over, which is fine. But here, absent the request to lay over and to avoid the risk of being past the 60 days of comment, I would then think that we would want to take an action. And for that, Lindsay, I'll let you speak to what you think we should do.
Yeah, so I think it'll probably be the committee's feeling that we disapprove this because we don't want to set a precedent of approving people who do not come before us to do that. However, it's probably worthwhile to get a little bit of feedback of the people who are here to say something about this proposed opening. But I want to remind everyone that we should try to keep this succinct because I imagine people are in the same direction. And so if someone said what you want to say, perhaps consider taking your hand down and know that that has landed on the ears of the people who are here. Does that seem reasonable to you, Abraham?
Yes, I'm happy to give voice to the members of the public who took the time to appear here to comment on the applications. But just as a reminder, so for Stephanie, it looks like the default is going to be that we're going to disapprove because they've not filed any paperwork and they're not here. But I still think it's warranted that people get a chance to speak their mind. However, just keep it succinct, given that it'll likely go in the direction that I suspect people want. So.
Okay, and so I'm going to ask everyone to keep their comments as quick and direct as possible. Let's start with Stephanie, and then we'll go to Molly.
Thank you so much for letting me speak. So I'll keep it quick. I grew up on this street. I moved back here when I was pregnant with my son. He's 5.5. We get right off the bus every day. That's right in our face. And it's right next to that door to the makerspace where that opened recently that I take my son to. But more importantly, I was showing, this is what the place looks like today.
Yeah.
It's basically open. And it's decorated with balloons like a candy store. So I don't think that they're planning on following the laws. And they're also have a sign out front saying they're going to be open 24/7 to be selling weed gummies and cannabis all night long.
So Stephanie, the only thing, thank you for telling us that. The only thing that I want to caution you and anyone else who's here is the fact that an illegal, unlicensed dispensary operation exists in that retail location does not mean that this applicant is the same business owners. And so that's unclear at this time if the people operating that are the people who are applying to operate this new place. And so I don't want to be sending any signals that says anything about sort of like the consistency of ownership because it's not clear to us at this time.
Okay, that's understood. But just I want you to know that that's what's there right now.
Yes. Yep. Thank you very much. Let's go to Molly and then Jennifer.
And Lindsay, I have a request for a timer.
Okay, let's do a minute timer.
Okay. That was a request from a board member, so if you give me 1 moment.
And don't feel like you need to use all your minute. The last commenter gave us her good bit of information in 45 seconds.
Okay, and Abraham, sorry, Lindsay, who did you want to go to next?
Let's do Molly first and then Jennifer Ratner.
Okay. Molly, you should be able to unmute.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, minute starts. I'm Molly Weinberger. I live at 535 East 86th Street. I've been a resident here for 20 years in this neighborhood, raising our family. My husband's immediate family has lived in this neighborhood for 60 years. A similar application for a cannabis license for a shop around the corner from 1640 York Avenue was denied unanimously by this community board at the December 2023 meeting, noting that the residential area, proximity to schools, and the park deemed it inappropriate. This establishment was also on the agenda that evening, but for some reason was not discussed. There has been no public notice of a cannabis license application for this space since the December 5th meeting. The shop, High Supply, was renovated and opened within a week in February as a total surprise to our community. It just appeared literally the night after Super Bowl Sunday. It's open 24 hours, 7 days a week, which is inappropriate for this area. City buses and school buses drop off and pick up students next to this location. Cassidy's Place and St. Joseph's School and the STEM Center for Kids are within 2 blocks of this business. Please vote no. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's go to Jennifer Ratner, please, and then we'll go to Anne.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Ratner. I also live on around the corner from this establishment. And I just will basically ditto what the prior speakers have said, but also to comment that I went in and asked if I could buy cannabis from somebody who worked there and was referred to somebody who told me he was the owner and, quote, it's the state's fault that he doesn't have a license yet. So, you know, to the point of whether that's the actual owner planning on owning it. I did not actually ask him whether he was ganja or not, but he identified himself as the owner. So the fact that people are opening stores with impunity is really wrong. And I have spoken multiple times before this store opened, not only with the community board employees, but also with our city council members, state assembly member, NYPD, and with the sheriff's office, who told me, cool, that this had opened. I spoke with them both before and after to try to be proactive about this location rather than reactive. And now we're being both kind of at the same time. And, you know, for all.
Okay, and Jennifer, thank you so much for your comments. Anne, and then we'll go to Audrey. And I just want to remind everyone, let's keep it to the 1 minute. I think we're all going in a similar direction here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Obviously, I'm going to second and third everything that's been said before, but my question is, what can this community board do now that the store is open? They have not been approved by this community board committee, and obviously they don't even have a state license. And at the December meeting, one of the things I learned was that a legal cannabis shop had darkened windows so that young people, children particularly, could not see what was inside. This place looks like Luna Park. I mean, it lights up the whole block between 86th and 87th. And the balloons, as someone mentioned earlier, are all pastel colors that would absolutely attract the attention of children, not necessarily adults. So I really want to know, what teeth does this committee have to shut this establishment down?
And thank you so much for those comments. You are right in identifying the limits to what this committee and really anyone can do. What I would like to ask is, Robert, if you can put the direct link to how you put a complaint into the Office of Cannabis Management. That seems to be the best and most effective way to make sure that the people who understand that these are operating illegally, like so that we know where they are. So Robert will put that into the chat if you stay for that, and you should be able to see that. And that's the link you should click. And then you can go ahead and submit all the information that you have on where it is, how it's open, and it goes to the Office of Cannabis Management.
And
sure, and I will go ahead, Abraham.
Oh, I mean, if you want to finish on that, I was going to then just highlight a couple of other action points that we can work with.
So I can put the incident report. I'm going to put right now into the chat the incident reporting form, which is the Office of Cannabis Management form, and the link from Assembly Member Alex Boris in his office, who also has a form to respond to unlicensed cannabis shops.
Right. Thank you for mentioning Assemblymember Boris. I was also going to flag that actually this evening, I believe the 19th precinct meeting is taking place, and I understand that illegal cannabis shops are a topic of discussion there. So as always, we will continue to work closely with the NYPD on that. I also know that council member Menon has also conducted various raids and stings on illegal shops. So we will flag this one as one of import to her office. So those are, while we directly as this committee cannot take steps, we can work with our elected officials and precincts. And while obviously there's still many operating, more they pop up like, mushrooms, but we can work with our elected officials and the NYPD to take steps. And I know we've had some success, Councilmember Mellon being an example. So.
All right, great. Thank you, Abraham. Thank you, Robert. Let's go to Audrey and then Kavita.
We are Audrey and Tony Greco at 525 East 86th Street, and we ask that the committee immediately tonight reject the application, which clearly has been done in an attempt to give a smokescreen of approval to an illegal shop that is already open and is designed to attract children from the schools that are right around the corner from it. We ask you to vote now to reject it and not delay and invite them to speak again. Clearly, they have been delaying this month to month to month and have no obvious reason to come since they have opened already. Please reject it tonight.
In addition, is it possible to find out about the owner who has rented to these people? The owner surely is aware of what's going on, and it seems to me the owner too should be penalized. We know that it takes weeks for the sheriff's office to come and be here for a couple of, it takes weeks for them to shut down a place. It should be immediate with the doors padlocked.
Thank you for those concerns. On the question about who the landlord is that's renting space, there is legislation being considered right now at the city council to put some of the sort of liability onto those landlords, but that hasn't yet passed. I think it's a good suggestion, and thank you for bringing it up. Let's go to Kavita and then Leslie.
Thank you for unmuting me. Hi, everybody. My name is Kavita Dharmarajan. I live at 535 East 86th Street. Neighbors with several of the folks who have already voiced their opinions on the call. And I want to just reiterate the things that Molly Weinberger said. She lives in the same building, and the others as well, that back the last time that we had a community meeting about this, a legal dispensary application was shut down. I think primarily due to the proximity of schools and children in the area. And I would like to know how we can message out, writing the complaints and everything else that needs to be done for this to get shut down, just so that we have people who will be able to make those complaints so that this does get shut down, and how we, if possible, if there's a way to be able to prevent illegal cannabis shops from opening as well in the neighborhood, how we can prevent that as well in the future.
Kavita, thank you for that. In terms of how you can respond or try to get attention to this issue, I think there are three sort of main mechanisms. There's the OCM link that Robert put in the chat. That's this cannabis reporting form. You can reach out, like Abraham said, to the 19th precinct. And then I truly think it is sort of a community responsibility that we make sure that our friends and neighbors know that these are not the shops that we want. And so if you have someone who's confused about what's a legal shop or what's not, make sure that you make yourself available to tell them that this one obviously isn't. Thank you so much. Let's do Leslie, and then I see MM as the last public member, or as the last public speaker tonight.
Hi there, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, I'm Phil Wagner, 525 East 86th. Leslie is my wife. She's over there. Just an FYI, my understanding is that there needs to be 1,000 feet between cannabis shops as they open. There is another cannabis shop down the street called New Live. which is by at least Google Maps, is approximately 680 feet away. So I think on that proximity basis alone, you should deny the application.
Phil, thank you very much. The business that you have pointed out is also an unlicensed business, but you are correct in identifying that there should be that 1,000-foot gap. However, when it's two unlicensed places, no one's enforcing that. Let's do MM, and then I see Peter Jakes, and then after that, we'll call it on members of the public for this issue.
MM, you should be able to unmute.
And if you wouldn't mind, please tell us who you are and what part of the neighborhood you're coming from to give us your comments tonight.
MM, you should be seeing a prompt to unmute on your screen.
You know what, Robert? I see Peter Jakes' live video and MM seems to be a picture. So let's go ahead and go to Peter Jakes. And if MM comes back, we can circle back again.
Okay. Peter, you should be seeing a prompt to unmute on your screen.
Hi, can you hear me now? Again, somebody else has said, we've been through this once before in December. You've got over 80 people on this call. You don't have that usually. Oh, I don't know how you have it, but it was an overwhelming number of people last time. It's an overwhelming number of people this time. I happen to see that John Phillips is on this call. It's right next to the mansion. Surely he has an opinion on this. He's a member of the committee, maybe conflicted. But surely he can't be happy about this either. It can't be good for business at the mansion to have a wafting marijuana. Maybe it is good for business. I don't know, but I doubt it. It's absolutely the wrong thing at the wrong place. You did it the last time. You should turn it down again this time.
Thank you very much. And Robert has MM.
They have not unmuted, but I will send them one more prompt to do so.
Let's send them one more prompt. And then Shauna, that will be the last. So no more members of the public tonight. Everyone seems to be in a similar direction.
MM, you should be seeing a prompt to unmute on your device.
Let's go ahead and go to Shauna.
Shauna, you should be seeing a prompt to unmute.
Hi, yes, my name is Shauna Elkin. I live at 525 East 86th Street. I have a young daughter whose bus also drops off in that intersection. I have more of a question for the community board, which is, it wouldn't shock me if this business is shut down, that another one springs up in the exact same place. And so my thought is, do we have to continue to do this with every single application or illegal opening over and over again? Or is there some mechanism to sort of have specific locations that have been banned for the same reason stop happening? Or do we have to continue to do this over and over again? Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Shauna. As it is right now, state law doesn't have a provision that would allow us to do what you've just suggested, which is like sort of say we've already voted not for this location. That doesn't mean that that sort of clarification wouldn't be something that happens in the future, but right now this is going to be the like game of whack-a-mole that we're playing for all of these shops. Okay, let's now go to the committee. Robert, I think you can, if you can lower MM's hand, I think we can call that one done for now. And within the committee, let's first go to Marco and then Judy.
Thank you. I would like to put a motion. The motion is to disapprove and then to speak. I think I have a second. Okay, the issue right here is very simple. It was another application around the corner that we denied, and we had to be consistent with that. I know that by law, because we don't have laws for the marijuana places, they can keep open whatever they want. And I think I has been telling constantly that this is a matter of zoning. Zoning is the only mechanism that we can create and make places properly to develop this kind of business. But if we don't have nothing like today, so we're gonna keep fighting again and again. And by the way, I always disapprove the marijuana place. I think it's wrong. I think it's completely, I think they went in the wrong direction, our representatives. But I respect. Now it's legal, and now we have to deal with that. But the issue is, my concern is, in that corner, there are plenty of kids that are coming from the school that take the buses. And always I see it full of children. And to attract with this kind of candies, all this kind of stuff, I think is wrong. We have to be protective with the children. The children is our future, and we have to be ready to preserve and protect them. And this kind of business, I know that the bottom line is to make money, but we want to jeopardize the future of the city, the future of this country. In addition to that, my concern is we have to establish something to let them know those business. It cannot put all of them in Upper East Side. There are many other places. We have to reduce the numbers even in our community. And that is my point of view. And thank you so much.
Thank you. Judy?
Yes, I'd just like to address a comment to the 80 or so members that are here, including our board members, that the best thing you can do is that everyone in this room should be filling out an application about this particular location and sending it to the state. Robert has put the address in the chat, and this always works. 311, all of these programs work on the number of complaints they get about a place. So the more complaints they get about an illegal place by the community, the quicker the sheriff's department is going to be there to do something about it. So not only should you all place a complaint, but you should pass this information on, and you should tell all your friends and neighbors to please place a complaint about this specific location and any others that are very close by like it. And that's just my comment. And I guess I can't call the question. I've spoken.
All right. Let's go to John Phillips, just because we haven't heard from him yet, and then to Addison.
Good evening, everyone. So the topic of marijuana and cannabis stores in the city are something we've been dealing with for probably a year now. And we oftentimes look at it as two different businesses, the legal and the illegal. But the illegal, they're opening up everywhere. And those are where the real problems are. And there seems to be no mechanism for enforcement with that. Kimberly said it best. I mean, you have an illegal marijuana store opening up down the block from another illegal marijuana store. And quite frankly, from what I've seen so far, there's not a single community board action that can do anything about that. It's an enforcement issue. And so we have to make sure that the NYPD is given the power to enforce these rules. When you look at where a lot of them are opening up, not only are they within 1,000 feet of another marijuana dispensary, they're near schools, they're absolutely in the line of sight of children, and it's a complete disservice to the entire community. Now, we can all get as upset as we want, but until the state government and the city government start doing something about this and deciding to draft legislation that's going to allow the NYPD to actually go in and close these stores, we're going to see them open up everywhere. And I hate to break it to everyone, but it's really going to have an impact on the commercial lease availability in the city as well. When a store is willing to pay 2, 3, 4 times the amount in rent because they're selling a narcotic versus someone who's selling a glass of wine or a sandwich, we're going to see just more and more of them opening up. And so the bottom line is, this is one of the rare situations where both the community and the community board are exactly in the same situation. And right now we have to wait for the powers that be to come up with something that's going to be actionable with regard to the illegal marijuana shops that are opening up everywhere.
Thank you, John. Addison.
Yeah, I think for me, this one's pretty clear. I think in addition to some of the community concerns that we heard about the location, I think the plain and simple matter is that, this was an application for a legal dispensary. In this case, they didn't show up. They haven't responded to correspondences. And I think in that event, they have not proven themselves to be responsible enough to lead a marijuana dispensary in this neighborhood. So for that reason, I will be voting against this application.
Thank you, Addison. Koss?
My question is, how do we know this is illegal?
You're saying that currently the business that's operating.
Wait a minute. Are they selling cannabis or are they selling paraphernalia and anything else? It could be a deli selling anything. If they're not selling cannabis, is it illegal?
Yeah, so Koss, I think we've had multiple image submissions that show us what business is operating there right now. It's not one that I've been to personally, but I'm not sure that much matters for this applicant who's not here. We're not sure that the person operating that business is the same people who would operate whatever this new business would be.
Well, I'm still confused. If it's a legal shop selling whatever it is, how can we call it illegal?
Right now, what it seems to be,
but they're
I'm not sure that
applying
they're not
for
selling
cannabis. I'm sorry.
I'm not sure that they're not selling cannabis. It sounds to me like community members who are closer to this location, and given the advertising and marketing that they have on the front of their business, they'd at least like you to believe that they're selling cannabis. But I also don't know that it much matters. Like, we're not here to discuss what's wrong with this illegal business going on right now, because it's also not clear that this business that's going on, legal or not, is the same person who would be applying for this cannabis license.
I'm still confused with the whole issue.
Okay, well.
So yeah, so you're right. So to date, I only heard one member of the public say that they spoke to someone there and asked if they could purchase cannabis. I don't remember if they indicated in the affirmative or not. So
no, they didn't.
Right. So I don't know whether or not there's an illegal cannabis shop. I think there's two issues here. One, in this existing shop, whether selling illegal cannabis or not, is viewed as a blight by the community members here who are speaking. If it is selling illegally, then that is something that should be reported and we will want to address. With regards to this specific application, we are going to take an action based on the failure of the applicant to appear and provide any documentation with regards to the application for a legal cannabis shop. And that is the actions we will take. And with regards, again, to the illegal shop, if there is evidence of such, then community members should continue to submit those complaints to the links shared, and we can liaise with our electeds and the precincts to delve further and to find out whether, in fact, there is any illegal activity going on here.
Well, I would nominate John Phillips to go next door and buy some.
He does have his hand raised, although I don't think that's why.
Thank you.
Okay, back to you, Lindsay.
Yeah, so Koss, I'll go ahead and nominate myself as tribute, and I'm going to all the illegal shops and asking to buy marijuana anyhow. So I'll go do a little field trip there if we need to figure this out. Russell, let's see what you have to say.
So I understand there's a motion to disapprove on the floor, and I would just call the question on that.
That sounds good. Does anyone oppose calling the question? Okay. So we can go to the roll, but we also have the ability to, right now it's a motion to disapprove. If there's anyone who wants to vote against that or abstain for any reason and they'd like to let me know, please do so. Otherwise, this can go down as a unanimous disapproval. Koss?
Yeah, I have a point of information. Are we putting anything in the stipulations that they haven't shown up for 3 or 4 months, or
yes, we will provide the whole context. Yes, we will provide the whole context and dialogue with this applicant. For any disapproval, we want to make sure that the OCM knows our rationale so that they give it the due consideration that it deserves. So we do put in the fact that they failed to appear, the fact that they did not submit any any documentation, that they asked to be laid over. So the entire history will be included as attachments to the motion to disapprove.
Okay, then I'm voting yes on this.
Okay. So, Robert, you'll have to double check the count because I know someone dropped off and then came back on. I don't know if it was Russell that got off and got back on.
If you give me,
Still see 11.
I have 11 as well, and I just want to make sure that everyone knows yes is a no and no is a yes on this because it's a disapproval.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is going to go down as a unanimous disapproval, 11-0.
Okay.
Okay, wonderful. We don't have any old business. Addison, what do you have?
I was just going to make a motion to adjourn.
Okay. Marco seems to say one more thing.
Furiously saying no.
Marco, what is it that you have?
I'm sorry, Edison. The issue is, I have 2 points. The first one is we still have to keep discussing about the bike deliveries on the sidewalk. I think we had to do something. We had to prepare in that direction because I think it's completely wrong. There is the cannabis is wrong. The bicycles on the sidewalk is wrong too. This is one issue. I don't know you wanna because I wanna bring the other issue, which is basically I think everybody has been mentioned already, is the outside outdoor spaces. There will be regulations, new regulations. I don't know when, but it's gonna be very soon. But our endeavor should be start preparing how to help them our business to comply with this regulation because the main issue right here is personally myself, I don't like to disapprove this application. But if they're doing something unlawful, I will go in that direction. So in order to avoid that, we have to create something, send an emails. We have records of all applicants, right, in the community board, send something, be aware, so they are in advance, notify that there are new rules and it has to obey those rules. And we would like to support the business and we have to follow according with the law. Because for me, again, marijuana is the same as the enforcement of the bike or the outdoor structures. So there is a specific regulation that we have to ask that. And finally, I have one last point. This is not actually I had to be very honest. This is not my idea. The idea is John Phillips' father. I was talking to him and he was saying there is a problem of the bathrooms in the community. And he himself proposed something that I never expect to hear from this kind of business or the restaurant business. He said, I don't mind that people come and use my bathrooms as long as I have to receive something in benefit. And I think this is a great idea because right now the board of president, they are concerned in that direction. And we have to see what restaurants are willing to participate in this program. John Phillips' father, he's willing to do that. So we have to present to the community board and to the business to see who are willing to participate in that part because actually we need bathrooms in the community. Again, I had to clarify that was not my idea. It was John Phillips' father. And I think it's a great idea. And we had to listen to the business and follow them because I think they're doing the right thing right now. And thank you.
All right, thank you.
So if I could just touch on that last point. Yes, Marco, the Manhattan Borough President did give a shout out to the Got2Go app. So there is an app for that for free restrooms in Manhattan. not, I don't know if that's something that we can bring to our chair of the board, if that'll fall under a particular committee, or if that's an action item, but I think that's something that we can float to Valerie on that point. Back to you, Lindsay.
Thank you. Cost?
Yeah, getting back to Marco's question, DOT last week gave a 2-3 hour presentation on dining out New York. Regulations have been put in. Applications started today. Things have to be down by November 1 or 3, I'm not sure completely. And DOT, the question I have is, this is going to be DOT run. So there's going to be 2 applications, one for the sidewalk SLA or the SLA application. The other application will be for the space, which will be governed by DOT. So does that mean that an applicant has to apply twice, once to DOT and once, well, the SLA and DOT applications will be completely separate. But does that mean DOT committee is going to hear part of it and Street Life is going to hear the other part?
No, we've the outdoor dining program, notwithstanding that it is now going to be governed by DOT, will all be heard by this committee as it was prior to the change, as it was under DCA. So all outdoor dining, roadway or sidewalk, will be heard by Street Life.
Okay, so it's going to be a DOT application heard by Street Life.
Correct.
Okay. But the rules and regulations and everything has been, and I'm surprised the board never got notice of the webinar.
I think maybe we can look into maybe having a little synopsis or a pamphlet to help applicants and kind of the public as when these applications come up. So I will chat with the office and see if we can pull something together.
Yeah, it's diningnyc.dot whatever. They've got everything on their website now. Okay, thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Judy?
Yes, I'd like to, hate to keep harping on the same thing, which I've been doing for years now, but Abraham and Lindsay, I'd like you to ask the applicants that come before us that have to post their listing on the lampposts in the community to remind them that they must remove them. It's part of their obligation. And maybe we can ask them to have them removed before it's heard at the full board. And if they haven't done that, then I know certainly here in the 60s, I'll be glad to raise my hand and state they have not removed them. I'm getting tired of pulling down these old applications on lampposts. They look just terrible.
Judy, thank you for saying that. That seems like something that we could do at the conclusion of a vote when we're releasing an applicant and just remind them, like thank them for coming and then saying, remember to please take down your things. Does that seem like that would do what you're asking?
That would be great.
And, yeah, and Judy, we also put that, and Lindsay, not to cut you off, I apologize. But we also put that, Judy, in our invitation emails. And verbatim, it says, following your Street Life Committee hearing, please take down the flyers you posted for your application.
Robert, I know you do that, but they need to be reminded at this meeting because they don't do it. I don't know. It can't just be in the 60s. You people live in other areas. Don't you see the notices for months on end? I know in the 60s, the lampposts look awful and they never take them down. I'm forever walking up and down First, Second, and Third Avenue, ripping these things down.
Yep. Thank you, Judy. It's a work in progress. As I said, Robert did add them to the emails, but you're right. I would take responsibility. I have not done a good job of reminding in recent meetings, so we will.
Oh, you guys do a great job. I thank you. for listening to me and my complaint.
No, team effort. Thanks, Judy.
Okay, John Phillips.
Not to take up too much more time, but there's a couple points of interest and things I'd like to add to the 3 different conversations we just had. So if you go to the New York City Dining Out website, that'll really answer a lot of the questions. There is multiple applications, one for the roadway, one for the sidewalk, and the SLA naturally is involved in that. Cause, if you have any specific questions, I'd be happy to speak to you offline about that. Going back to the marijuana dispensaries and what Marco brought up about the bathrooms as well. It is really an enforcement problem, and it's a systemic problem, whether it be bicycles on the sidewalk, mopeds in the street doing all kinds of things that you could not possibly imagine, or the marijuana dispensaries. There's guidelines for how these things are supposed to operate, or laws in some cases, which we just blatantly ignore. I'm an example with the marijuana dispensaries. The windows are supposed to be blacked out. They're supposed to be within a certain square footage of schools and other things, and they just simply aren't. So whether or not they're licensed or not, they're not falling within the structure which was put forth by the state and the city. When it comes to restrooms, that's not something we even think about. We've been doing that for 80 years. But there are programs that the city is offering, and there are restaurants and public spaces that could be made available very easily, because at the end of the day, we're in the hospitality business. And our job is to take care of not only our community, but our customers and whoever else comes into our establishments. And that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you for adding that, John. Let's do a final comment from Alan Goodman.
Okay, I'm relatively new to coming to these community board meetings, but I just want to know, what can the community board do? What are the powers? Like for the restaurants, you talk about approvals and disapprovals, but how about for regular retail businesses?
So if you're asking about this committee specifically, we are only looking at liquor license approvals and cannabis license approvals. If you're asking about like, can a certain type of business come into a certain location, that might be a zoning question. And so without further clarity on what you mean, does that answer your question?
That answers my question, yes.
Okay, so today, yeah, that's the only things that we're considering. I know that we had a motion to adjourn from Addison Lev. I don't know if there's any seconds that we want to come back.
I see some.
Bill? Okay. So with that, I feel good closing this meeting, and I want to thank everyone for coming, and thank you for doing the work on this with us.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.